Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing on this Monday evening chat with Al? And it's going to be some wrestling chat. That's why we have our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike, with us. Link for his YouTube page provided on the page, or channel, provided on the page and in the chat. Our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike, Sports Time Machine. Check it out. Good stuff. And he is a very big and knowledgeable wrestling fan. I am a casual wrestling fan, just getting back into it for a bit. And I'm just going to give you my thoughts on AEW Revolution, which I watched last night with Nurse Teresa. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the buy-in matches. I thought they were very good. And I enjoyed the whole card. And again, I will give you my thoughts as once again, a novice watcher of wrestling. Now, back in the day, I could name all the WWF champs and all the wrestlers and how the titles moved, but I am far past that stage. What I like about AEW is it to me, obviously wrestling is a soap opera, we'll say, a dance, and AEW to me is more enjoyable than WWE. That's just my opinion. It makes a little more sense to me. It's slightly more old school. It still has all the leaps and the false finishes and this and that. And of course, Danhausen. They have Danhausen. And I have to honestly admit, yes, I like his goofy shtick. It's fun to me. And that's what wrestling is about, in my opinion, enjoying it and having fun. Hello, Mr. Utah Mike. First, tell us about your channel.
Well, lately I've been doing the Stratomatic Greatest Teams League, and I've been trying to run a game a night since the real major leaguers, are decided not to play anymore. So I decided to go back in time and take 30 of the greatest teams, one from each franchise, and play a little league with them. So it's just started that, so I'm just getting going with that right now.
Because you have quite a few Stratomatic projects on your channel.
I do. I always have a few others. I'm trying to get the feel what I want to do, and it's just hard to get the best one that I want.
Well, you'll figure the feel out from there. What are your thoughts about AEW? First of all,
when they first came out, which was in brainchild of Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. It was first, I guess, a joke, when it first came out, because Dave Meltzer, a established wrestling writer, had almost dared them to sell an independent show with more than 10,000 tickets. So they said, fine, we'll do it. And they ended up selling out the Sears Center in Chicago. And it was one of the best independent shows of all time. And from there, they went, hey, you know what? If we could run one of these shows, maybe there's a chance we could run like an organization. And from then on, they immediately got TV, because they had Tony Khan, which is a family of the Jaguars and stuff like that, which where the money comes from. And he's able to get the TNT contract straight. And once he got the TNT contract, then they shifted over to TBS. But I think they did that mostly so they'd have to get bumped by the NBA every year. So they ended up moving their shows from their Wednesday to Friday because of the NBA, and NBA's always been the TNT top priority. And so I've always been a fan of them. What's the funny little story is I've been to one show already, and it was in March of 2020. If that happens to ring a bell to anyone out there, when we got out of that show that night, news started to filter that the NBA was closing down, NHL was closing down, all sports were starting to come to a complete halt. And that was the last ever house show that AEW ran until they started going live again. We were at the shutdown pre-pandemic.
The thing with the AEW crowd that I've seen is they really get into it. They enjoy it. And when you're performing in front of a live crowd, the atmosphere is just so much better than when there's no crowd. And that's with anything. I watch a lot of boxing, and boxing was a sport that stayed open during the pandemic, and they would fight in front of nobody. And it was kind of strange, but you got used to it after if you're a boxing fan. And there was a lot of good fights. Eddie Hearn, top notch, his own. But it's nice to see the crowd again, because you don't get the old school where people really they're into it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like they're going to go stab someone anymore. Like the stories you'd hear when they try to stab a superstar Billy Graham or whatever heel that they were going after. But yeah, it was it's very enjoyable to watch AEW, at least for me right now. The Road to Revolution. They started off with the buy-in matches, which I had never. Again, this is the first pay-per-view wrestling I have watched in full in a gazillion years, because I was interested in it. And Nurse Teresa and I, we sat down, we watched it. God bless her. I do go to bingo with her though, so that's my revenge. I make her watch wrestling. The buy-in matches were quite interesting to me. They had 3 of them. Now, is this a standard thing they do?
They do, yeah. It's there, and you don't have to subscribe to the pay-per-view to get them. They're usually on YouTube usually.
Yes.
So
yes.
It gets people to entice them to buy it.
Now, the first match was a women's match between Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander.
Yeah,
I have to be honest.
Kind of plays that alien type role, kind of thing.
Chris Statlander, she plays that alien type role, which again, that's not things I'm fond of in wrestling, but legit, Layla Hirsch is originally Russian. She's Russia, but she grew up wrestling in my county where I grew up in New Jersey. She's from Hillsborough, New Jersey, from Russia. So I kind of really like her. She's kind of one of my favorites for that reason. Yeah,
and she's legit. She can legitimately shoot out there, and that's something I always liked.
She is a spark plug. The height differential was amazing in this one. You literally could see the height. Obviously, you can always see the height differential. The match started off a bit clunky, and I've read that also. But my thought was awkward. The words I've read in some of the reviews is clunky, and that probably is a better word. They missed some spots, but they regrouped, I thought, nicely. And you could actually say, well, it was sort of a counter or just a misstep. But that was a fun match. Layla Hirsch won, which surprised me. Again, not knowing anything about these 2 wrestlers, Mr. Utah Mike. I just was looking at, the look of both of them. Who would they push? I was happy that Hirsch won, and she is supposed to have a big match this week. I cannot remember against who. Is it against?
What is it? A number 1 contender? Is she wrestling? Yes. Yeah, I think is it Thunder Rosa for chance for the title?
Yes, I do think it's that. So I'll look forward to that, because I think that'd be a fun matchup there. So again, decent match. That was your first buy-in match. Now, again, these are just my thoughts. I'm not an expert. D. Scott Howard joined us.
Hey, D. Scott. Hey, so what I look at, and again, these 2 people, Chris Statlander is kind of a friend of the friends for me. She's part of the Best Friends faction with, and I mean, I guess, yeah, exactly. If you like,
I know who they are.
Danhausen, then you probably like Orange Cassidy.
Hey, you got me back into wrestling. I'm happy about that. So, and again, someone said that Orange Cassidy was starting to do his gimmick with no crowds, and it was, they said, once he gets a crowd in front of him, his character will kind of get better. I guess it has. I mean, I was kind of always weirded out by him. It's like, but yeah, because here's the thing: when he does that rolling in the ring thing, you should stomp him. right? I mean, the bad guy should just stomp him right away. The crowd likes it, and he does the whole "I touch your knee," and again, they like. And you know what? He can wrestle. He can wrestle when they start to go. Again, he's more of a comedic type, you know what I mean? But he can go. He can go. Dave Gardner's at the rink. I hope you're getting close to your 1,000th goal, my friend.
I've heard him do his stuff on Twitter. The announcing, it's so much fun listening to him announce for the juniors. I don't know how old they are. Yeah, hockey. Yeah.
Does a great job, Dave Gardner.
And an annoying little guy that seems to be sitting by him all the time. I've been seeing pictures. Yeah. I don't think it was Ron. I don't know who it was, but I guess there was this guy.
Oh, you mean the hockey? You mean the
hockey thing? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. No, that's not Ron. I know what you mean now. It just clicked. I thought you were making a little joke with Ron. So that was the women's match, the first, the buy-in match. Again, I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. Then, you know what was funny, Mike? I was thinking, I can't believe they don't have Hook on this pay-per-view, right? Because I don't know anything about who's on these buy-in matches. And lo and behold, it's Hook and QT Marshall. I went, wow, this is awesome. This is worth me sitting here. Because he's a great character. Hook, who is legitimately the son of Taz, correct? That's not a shtick.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Can wrestle. He can do all the moves. He's strong. Again, when he's picking up someone just like anybody else, they're helping you, but you still have to pick them up and hold them and do your move. The crowd enjoys him. They had his arch nemesis at the moment, QT Marshall. Is he like a trainer? Is that what that whole thing is?
Yeah. He's one of the head trainers for the Nightmare Factory, which was with the Rhodes family. So they were doing that there. That's where a lot of youngsters come in.
Right. And that now the storyline there is he kept throwing his young wrestlers at Hook to show that they could beat him. And Hook's, I think he's 7-0, 5-0, but he beats them all, and quite impressively. This was a different match. They gave him a little more of a challenge. Again, the storyline, I liked this because I was looking forward to this was a big surprise to me, Mike. When I saw this match, I was like, this is cool because I've been waiting for this. And QT Marshall, he probably had him by 30 pounds.
Yeah, but if what they always say about martial arts, it's not how big you are. If you can get somebody on the ground, you're the same size as him.
Oh, absolutely. So there was a discrepancy in size, and QT Marshall played up the bad guy. He played up all the dirty tactics. But in the end,
what I don't understand is this: Team Taz is this heel faction, which is absolute Ricky Starks, is Powerhouse, Hobbs, and led by Taz. They're heel. Oh yeah, they're heel faction.
Yeah, I know they come off that way, but okay, but I don't think Hook's a heel.
Well, then what is he? He's with Team Taz unless he's like veering off on his own little venture.
But they don't interfere in his matches. Not that he needs any help. I think with AEW, and I'll get back to this match real quick in a second, I don't think it's big to them to have heels and faces. I mean, they have them, but like Jericho technically used to be at least like sort of a face there. And now they're turning him back into a heel.
And that's what and that's the first thing I thought of when he didn't do well. You'll get there, but at the end of the match with Eddie Kingston,
that was I know where you're going with that, and we'll get there. But with the Hook and QT Marshall again, that was a buy-in match, free, and that was really a fun match. I don't agree. I was reading a couple of things. Some people are giving it grades like B-, C+. I enjoyed the match. I give it an A. Because he made the guy tap out. Hook won, but it was a fun match. I thought the moves were well done. Again, I'm not a professional.
If you're a fan of The Shining, you'll recognize his finishing move. So the red rum.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and again, this is just my opinion, my thought process. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the match. I look forward to more things from Hook. I would like to see Hook at some point win one of the TBS, one of the minor titles, the TNT, TBS. So the titles they have, from just me watching for about a month, right? You have your world champions, men and women. You have world champions,
so let's dumb it down for everybody. So before Showtime, your world champion was Adam Page. Your women's champion was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
DMD. No, but I'm just saying they're
no. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go through them. We'll go through the champions and we'll talk about it.
So you have your men and women's, what they consider AEW heavyweight world champion, right?
Right.
Which you just stated. Then you have your tag team world champions, who are
who are as of bell time were the Jurassic Express, which was Luchasaurus and Jack Perry,
and that is
Jungle Boy.
Luke Perry's son, who Luke Perry just passed away. Was it last year? I think it was last year.
Well, actually, ECW. I mean, AEW's been around for 2 years now, and he I believe passed away a year or so before that. So I think he's been passed away about 3 years. My wife watches. My wife watches Riverdale, and they had done some kind of retrospect on him on there.
And
now
like
a few years ago
when he passed away, very young, very sad. So then you have your TBS title and your TNT title, which is like a TV title.
which is Sammy Guevara and Guevara, and a girl I don't like. They love her because of her looks, but looks like Tony Khan's trying to push her to be the next Goldberg. That's Jade Cargill.
Yeah. The female champion.
People love. I mean, they seem to have the hots for her. I just don't get it. She really makes life difficult for who she wrestles against. She's so green, and wrestling sense means you're just not ready for prime time. Your moves are going to hurt somebody because you're not. It just you never hear of a match of hers going, "Wow, that was the greatest of all time." So you never hear of one of her matches going, "Wow, that was one of the greatest of all time." It's always, well, that looked dangerous in there, and that looked really clunky.
I think what they do is they're building her up because people can root against her. She plays the villain perfect. So, but that's just my opinion. I understand what you're saying too. When you're wrestling against someone green, you can't. Yeah, there's only so much you do. Though she does some pretty good moves. So there's not like a USA champ or anything like that in AEW. They don't have like an Intercontinental champ. Those are all the championship belts.
I would think their Intercontinental champion is their TNT, is their TNT and TBS champions. Yes.
Okay, so that's not. See, I look at that like a TV title, but you're thinking it's more than that. Okay, that's cool.
It's their secondary title. So unless they come up with something else, but I don't think.
All right,
they
so
will.
then if that is their secondary title, then that would be your USA or your.
I mean, there's negotiations about them bringing a trios title in because of the three titles they've had before.
Oh, Cleve baseball fan says, I hope they're building Serena Deeb to take either Baker or Cargill's title. Now, not knowing much about Serena, I will not comment. But
she's been on the Friday shows, and she's been doing her 5-minute challenge on there. And I guess Akira Shida came back Friday night to go against her, I guess.
Oh, and I know Baker's been doing the 5-minute challenge.
Well, that's Deeb's, I guess, new thing. But yeah, and if you remember her, she was part of WWF a while back too. She was part of CM Punk's Straight Edge Society, which was cool gimmick. Again, it's going back a little bit, but just
So again, this is just me getting back into wrestling and enjoying this AEW the past month in this show. So that's why we have you on, Mr. Utah Mike, to fill in the gaps for me. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, this again, without knowing about these buy-in matches, right? I also thought, wow, why isn't House of Black on this pay-per-view? But guess what? They were for free. And again, you didn't have to buy it. And it was House of Black versus Death Triangle. So I really do like the House of Black. And even Death Triangle, they brought in that big redheaded guy who is like
That's Eric Redbeard, who
like
used
a
to be
white
Eric
guy.
Rowan, who was again used to be a good
Was he
friend of
partners with the late
Brody Lee. Yes,
who
they
passed
were.
away, right?
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
he was at the last time AEW saw him when he was at the Brody, which was, if you want to go back and watch the show, that's one of the best shows you'll ever see. The Brody Lee Memorial Show was absolutely unbelievable. So
Now, did you watch this match? Have you seen?
I
This
did.
one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have seen. Yeah, I'm a big fan of all six of the guys. WWE made a huge mistake not giving Malachi Black the 90-day non-compete clause. So when he became free, AEW quickly grabbed him up fast. And they, again, we could look at all these guys and say, boy, WWE missed the boat on all these guys.
Well,
I mean,
I have to say, yes. Again, I'm not a wrestling expert, people. I'm just looking at, I do watch. Now, to be truthful, I like Roman Reigns in WWE because I think he gives a good promo. He's a good speaker and he can wrestle. That's just my opinion.
Yes,
I
I
thought
agree.
his match with Cesaro was phenomenal. Would be 2 years back now, I think, or a year and a half back. I thought his match with Danielson, because they changed his name, was very good. I like Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins I like too, but wasn't he originally Ring of Honor too, or no?
Yes, Seth
Okay.
Rollins used to be Tyler Black.
Okay. So now this match was a lot of fun. Back and forth. House of Black wins because Malachi Black spits the goo. What was it? The Great Muta used to spit the green stuff.
Kabuki Muda, yeah.
Yeah. And very similar to that. And they're doing the whole occult kind of thing, which, Mike, you're a wrestling fan, historian, aficionado. You remember Kevin Sullivan, obviously, right?
Yes, I remember his satanic Florida stable back in the day.
Yes. Does that not resemble like sort of the shtick they're doing slightly?
It does. Yeah, I do, and it's I like their gimmick a lot. I mean,
I like
something.
I'm just saying it reminds me of that, which is I'm not knocking it. I like it. And they can all wrestle. The gentleman who wears the what's his name?
Death Triangle?
Death Triangle. He wears the
mask.
You're
Penta. Oh, Penta.
Yeah, that he can. I like this. I don't know.
Well, his brother's been hurt, so they have to mix around some stuff. So it's been Penta and the Bastard Pac and now Eric Redbeard in this.
Was the Bastard Pac part of the House of Black at one time?
No, he was not. No, he's always
just a rivalry.
He's a rivalry. He's always been a part. He's always been a part of the. He's always been a part of the Death Triangle, and that used to be him, Phoenix, and Penta.
Okay. Hello, Nurse Teresa. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I just want to let you know we might be getting some severe thunderstorms.
All right. Awesome sauce. Severe. Are we supposed to get 50 mile an hour per
well,
wind?
I just got 2 alerts.
2 alerts. So we might be going off the air shortly. Not by my choosing.
just to let you know.
Thank you. Did you enjoy the pay-per-view?
I did.
We had fun.
Yes. I'm glad I had you get it.
Yes, we had fun. We enjoyed it. It was fun.
The one that surprised me the most, that I enjoyed probably the most, was the ladder one.
The ladder match was a lot of fun. We're going to get to that with Mr. Utah Mike. I enjoyed the ladder match. And you know what? What matches did I say I wasn't going to like and I liked them the best? I said I don't like ladder matches. That's just me. And I don't like the 6-man, the tag team kind of, the 3 tag teams. I never liked that stuff. And they were fun. I enjoyed those matches.
And which match did I would look forward to the most, that I liked the least?
The dog collar match.
Yeah.
I agree. It was okay, but it wasn't. It went too long.
It went way too long.
We haven't got there yet, but that was just. I agree. That's what we said when we looked at this. It kind of, to me, and I know we're jumping. The dog collar match ruined the not ruined. That's not the right word, but it broke up the time. Everything was flowing pretty nice, and it just. I don't know. We'll get there. The dog.
I didn't mean to jump in.
No. You can jump in anytime you want.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave now.
Okay.
I wanted to just tell you about the thunderstorms.
I appreciate that. I love you.
I love you too, honey.
So, House of Black, Mike. What do you think they're gonna do with these? Because these guys are all talented. Why are they not competing for the tag team? Like two of them, with the third guy being on the outside of the ring, and they could switch it up. Sort of like the Samoans used to do. Why are they not competing for a tag team championship? Or what do you think?
It's what you know what? It's exactly what happens when you purchase too many guys. You have so much talent. You have guys sitting in the buy-in. You have guys wrestling in the, guys wrestling for the main event. There's just, and you still got guys who, who didn't even like a tag team perfectly in this question is FTR.
Oh, they're very good.
They are
very good. They weren't even on the pay-per-view.
Nope,
now,
they weren't.
I don't get that. I'd like to see FTR against the Young Bucks. I'd like to see FTR against Red Dragon. I'd like to see FTR against House of Black. You could get whichever two you want. You know what I mean? Whichever two, because you have Malachi Black. You have what's his name? Buddy. Oh God.
Buddy Matthews and Brody King are the other two.
Yeah. Where did Buddy Matthews come from? WWE?
He did too. Yes.
They released him. Wow. I don't watch much WWE. Really talented. Good look to him. Really talented. The other thing I like about AEW, not everyone has to be these muscle-bound behemoths. They have some old school big guys like Redbeard and the gentleman you just mentioned, who I'm trying to find his name again, with House of Black, Brody King. Here's another one. We're going to get to him. I'll get to it in a second. I can't find his name, and I can see he just came over from the WWE. Very big gentleman, excellent maneuverability, unfreaking believable how well he moves, and I can see him. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts that I cannot think of his name, and I'll get it in a moment. Hello,
was it Keith Lee?
Keith Lee, yes, thank you, Tribes fan. AKA Jim L.
Again. Superman.
Yeah.
Again, with Keith Lee, again, a guy who WWE released, did his 90 days and immediately got gobbled up. So he was one of my favorite guys too. And you know what? All this became because of Triple H's health issues when he had his heart attack and he started to be faded off NXT programming. All of a sudden, Vince started to pull the plug on any of Triple H's projects that he had. So they started releasing all these big name superstars, and then when they brought, and I could tell you somebody else who's going to come in soon, and that's going to be Karrion Kross. If they decide to bring him with Scarlett, that's going to absolutely be amazing. This guy is just absolute. I don't know if you saw him at all, but look him up. He has an amazing look. But again, his 90 days will be up at some point too.
So just let's get back to the House of Black real quick, and then we'll move to the main events or the pay-per-view card. I'd like to see them challenge for the AEW title. I just think, and again, you hit it out of the ballpark, because I was talking with Nurse Teresa, saying they just have too many wrestlers, unfortunately, and you can't do everything with. I mean, maybe you come up with a 6-man. Remember, every once in a while they'd have the gimmick in some territory, the 6-man tag champs. You could do that with these guys, and I think it would click, with the fans.
Yeah, and there is talk about a trios title coming. They just haven't done it yet.
Because to me, House of Black, they're being wasted. Not wasted. I shouldn't. But have they ever? Has any of those
misused? The word you want to use there is misused.
Yes, and
misuse sounds a lot better than wasted.
And there's FTR again.
And their big problem right now is they're stuck being bodyguards for MJF. They're a part of the Pinnacle with Sean Spears. They're with Tully Blanchard, and again another mastermind of this industry, and they're fantastic. And they just don't need to be with MJF. They need to still say, you know what? You don't need us around anymore, dude. We're gonna be on our own. We still love you, but then kill a good baby face and stay as heels. But they don't need to be doing MJF's dirty work, because right now, what is it getting them?
I think, and Jim Cornette, again, just because I watch his pod, listen to his YouTube, the rething of the podcast. He thinks they're not being used properly, and I agree with that, because they are tremendous. They can go old school, they can go new school, they can do it all. So that was it. Again, 3 free matches, all enjoyable. My favorite of the 3, the last, and I really liked the Hook and the QT Marshall. I liked them all, but I think the House of Black versus Death Triangle was just fun. They were all fun. I think that was my favorite of the 3, and I enjoyed them all. So now we go to the pay-per-view. Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston. I had never seen Eddie Kingston wrestle, Mike. Okay? I went back on YouTube and found a really fun match. Eddie Kingston. Who was it now? Now I can't remember, but it wasn't Cesaro. Oh God, I can't. But anyway, I watched it. I was like, oh wow.
He's never had mainstream experience before, so this is his first big league fed he's ever wrestled in.
And his character is the tough guy. Chris Jericho's been around forever. WWE, WCW, and then in Canada and everything. And again, Chris Jericho, I believe he's in his 50s now. And or late 40s. He's put on a little weight.
Probably.
Yeah.
Father's former New York Ranger.
Yes, that's right. And he has a heavy metal band that's pretty good. He comes into that his own song.
Love it, yeah.
Yeah. This match was a good match. It was a fun match, grudge match, old school kind of grudge match. They built it up well, I thought. If you were watching during the weeks. Good. Again, I'm not going to go through technical stuff and the rest of I enjoyed the match. It was a good match. I thought Kingston would win just because he had never won. The crowd wanted him to win. He put on a good show. Jericho put on a good show. There was a few awkward moments in my opinion, but not anything, just you could easily say, oh, they're countering one another. At the end, Eddie Kingston wins. He's like, oh my God, I won. Like he didn't even realize he won kind of thing. And the whole thing was, what was supposed to happen, Mr. Utah Mike? What did Chris Jericho say if Eddie Kingston beat him?
That he would put his hand out and shake his hand, just tell him he's the better man.
And now they're going to try to completely flip Chris Jericho as a super heel jerk, which he can play because he's done it before. But I don't think the crowd still likes him too much, and that's fine. But he didn't shake his hand, obviously, and that was the whole. He goes, I can't do it, and he walked away, and he got the heat on him with the booze and stuff. It would have been interesting if he did shake his hand, because you could still go. Again, to me, AEW, you see the rivalry between Young Bucks and the Red Dragon. Red Dragon, excuse me. They're both heelish teams, correct?
Right, they are.
And see, to me, it never bothered me if heels wrestled heels or faces wrestled. Again, they don't do that a lot in the old days because the whole point was to get heat on one another. There are a few examples of that happening in the old days. To me, that doesn't bother me because if you remember when The Rock and Austin wrestled, right? They're both fan favorites, and they got,
yep.
and they still got their, they still got the enjoyment from the fans. They still got the heat, not like against one another, but you know what I mean. The fans were into it; they were pumped. So again, if you turn Chris Jericho into a heel, which they've been trying to do, he's good at it. He can do it. I don't know if you have so much talent there, Mike, right? Do you really want to push Jericho? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to push Jericho because he was the first. They were the first match on the card.
True. Yeah, and he was he was always, he had the first heel faction in AEW when they first started. So I'll be surprised if they turn him again. Because I think if you start looking at our other matches in this show, I can tell you, I can see the Bucks and either Red Dragon with a heel turn, face turn going down the line with these guys too. So it's how many of these can you do without the fans going, okay, now who are we supposed to cheer for? Who are we supposed to boo?
But that's excellent because here's my point. I don't think you got to flip anybody. Just let them wrestle and let the fans decide, right? If they want to like him, they like him. If they want to boo them, they boo them. A perfect example is the women's champion. She comes out, they all hate her. It's not like they cheer her, but they get into her gimmick and they'll do the DMD. And so I don't necessarily think you got to have maybe someone's more heelish and maybe someone's more face-ish. You know what I mean? But I don't think you got to completely turn them. Did you enjoy this?
To me, I did. Yeah, I did. I love the old school submission win by Kingston. He used a Japanese finisher called the stretch plum, which kind of neck wrench, kind of choke kind of thing. I kind of like that move. That was a pretty. You haven't seen that on American TV in a while, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say about AEW, I like finishes. Most of them are clean finishes. Even if there's cheating involved, I like the pin. I like the 1, 2, 3. I like that, or the submission. I do not like disqualifications. I do not like no results.
Old school. I mean, that's like that's old school. Madison Square Garden. Wrestle the first time, DQ. Wrestle the second time, DQ. No, sorry. Wrestle the second time, stop match because of blood loss. Match 3. Yep. Either cage or Texas Death Match, and programs
even as
over.
A youngster, I didn't like that scenario. I get what they're doing. I understood the business. Now I understand the business of like you're building up to it, but you can still build up to stuff. This is where I disagree. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not an expert. I'm not any former wrestler, obviously. I'm just telling you, you can have people win and lose and still build stuff up for rematches. And some people go, why would you want to see a rematch? Because it was good the first time and it's going to be good the second time. Because you can always tweak these matches a bit. And you can always throw a swerve in there. That's why.
And Punk MJF was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, they just kept wrestling and they built it up. All right, so we both enjoyed that match. Were you happy Eddie Kingston won? I was.
Yeah, and the ending was okay. Well, maybe he'll shake his hand Wednesday night, and it'll be, the way it is. They're trying to start. They're trying to start a little bit of a feud between the Ortiz and himself. So the tag team along with Jack, along with Hager and Jericho.
Yeah, which I watched that tag match. That was okay. That was it last week or the week before? I think it was okay. Again, I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. That one on the shows. All right, so that one we're happy about. I kind of felt Kingston was going to win. It was really interesting the way how they decided who was going to win, because there was a lot of, I think, what the fans wanted. I think. Next was the AEW Tag Team Championship, 3-way tag team match. Again, I'm not usually a fan of these types of matches. So you had Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks. Red Dragon and the Young Bucks are sort of in the same, my term is
faction,
stable.
Yeah.
Like
Stable,
same group,
Mhm.
but they don't really like each other. So they played up the shtick. We'll work together, and then we'll go at it, and one of us will win the titles. That's what it seemed, okay? Now, that went along for a while, and then Jurassic Express has Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, who are just totally different in size. Luchasaurus is a large human being. I don't like his goofy mask, but he can wrestle. And the one thing you noticed, Mike, at least I noticed, they really didn't put him in the ring a lot. Like, a lot of his stuff was on the outside, or he couldn't make the tag. And then when he came in, he did the big man stuff, which was really cool. And he did some amazing, they all do amazing things. They do amazing things. But what I was looking forward to here, I was a little disappointed. I honestly thought the champs were going to drop the belts. I thought they were going to drop the belts. This one did surprise me. I did not pick this one correctly. That's kind of the fun, trying to figure out where and again, people, we know before I'm going to get these messages, not in here, but like I know this stuff is fiction. It's kind of fun, just like if you're watching a show, to see how the writers I'll use the term writers, right? How they're going to go with it. Like Game of Thrones, even though I read all the books, right? The show, you're trying to figure out or Walking Dead. I get it. It's the same thing. We're just enjoying it for what it is. That's all I'll say about that. I thought, excuse me, I thought, Mike, they were going to drop the belts to the Young Bucks. I just, or actually, what I would have done, I would have dropped the belts to Red Dragon, right? And then you can have your Young Bucks Red Dragon rivalry to go for however long you think it could go. Because I think they could have done something there. And they're still going to do it, but just without the tag belts, I would assume, right? What's your thought on that?
What we're waiting on, but unfortunately his injuries are still is keeping him out, is I think we're waiting on Kenny Omega coming back. Is when Omega comes back, then you're gonna have the two factions, Cole and Omega, and it's gonna be Cole and Red Dragon and the Bucks and Omega. So you're gonna have those two stables in a complete free for all. But they're not doing that right now. I think they're waiting on it to happen. So it's kind of a slow build, kind of like the Wardlow thing.
My other thing, and they also brought in Adam Cole brought in a wrestler from New Japan who I've only seen wrestle that one time on that show. And he wrestled Was that
Jay White?
Switchblade, yes.
Switchblade,
He wrestled, I believe, a wrestler named they give him a real name, his name, and then the Blade. I think that's who it was, and that was a really fun match. But I guess he's no fan of Kenny Omega, and maybe when Omega comes back, that's going to be his rival, the Switchblade. Again, these are just. I'm a novice at this. I'm just my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen. Okay, so the match was good. I'm not going to go through the whole match because I don't have the expertise to say this and that. The moves were fun. Again, a lot of high flying with these teams, false finishes. But see, false finishes in this one I can see, Mr. Utah Mike. You know why? Because there are 3 tag teams. And if you lose, you don't have to pin the champs. in this scenario, the way it's built. So you can see people interfering in the matches and stuff. And that's mostly how the false finishes came. There were a few kind of kickouts. I don't like when people kick out on Luchasaurus when he's a gazillion pounds more than they are. It's just not feasible to me. It's just, it doesn't. I'd rather see someone interfere, and that's mostly the way it happened when it did happen with that. They do.
I'm a bigger fan of the elimination type style where you have to pin both teams and have one conclusive winner.
So that would be cool.
But this is
right. So say Red Dragon is pinned, they're out, correct?
right.
And then you continue the match. I would have liked that better too. But this one, because I kept going, how does the other team get in? Why would you tag in the other? And then you just kind of basically if they get close, you kind of slap them on the back. Like you can tag in on anybody. Again, I did not think I was going to enjoy this match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I like that they built up the rivalry. They finally came to blows, Red Dragon and Young Bucks. That's what I was looking forward to. And again, I honestly thought Jurassic Express with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus were going to drop the titles. They didn't. I don't know what they're going to do next with them. I don't know. Who are they going to wrestle? FTR, excuse me. Where do you think they go with this, Michael?
Or maybe it's time for, like you said, the House of Black to jump into tag team ratings.
How vicious would that be, Mr. Utah Mike? The House of Black annihilates the, you know what I mean? Like they take out Luchasaurus. Again, it's the House of Black, and then they annihilate Jungle Boy. Like an old school kind of WWF.
Yeah, even though he's not a part of the I don't think you've seen him yet, but I don't think he's under contract anymore with them. But a guy I can see them totally annihilating and maybe taking out would be if you ever Jurassic Express was a 3-man crew before. And they had this little they had a 4-foot, 90-pound dude. Look him up. His name is Marco Stunt. He used to be in there just for the sake of throwing around the ring like he was a ragdoll, like a lightweight type of thing. Yeah, ragdoll. Yeah, and he'd be perfect to have in there so they can blow the mist at him, destroy him, and make him go after him. But now you can do that because Christian Cage is a part of their kind of the group too, so you can still have 6-man match in there and still filter for the titles too. So that makes sense too.
I like to see House of Black. If they're not going to do a 6-man tag team championship or a 3-man tag team, 3-man tag team championship, I like to see them win, at least get a shot at it. They're such good, and they're all good wrestlers. Again, more high flying than I'm used to, but I'm getting used to it. If they just tweak it a bit, bring it down a bit. Again, this is just me, my thoughts. Cut back a few of the false finishes. The product is still fun. The product's fun anyway. It's those are just my critiques. All right. So I didn't get this one right. Again, I thought the Young Bucks. Now I'm thinking it would have been cool if the Red Dragon won, because then you could have the Young Bucks try to get the title from them. But again, very enjoyable match to me. A lot of people gave it a B, B-, B+. Again, to me, it's an enjoyable match. That's what I just graded as. Very enjoyable. Something I didn't think I was going to like this type of match, and I did. Not saying, Mike, that I would always like this type of match, but these 3 teams, the way it was choreographed, the way they planned it, however they practice it was well done, again, in my opinion. So now we go to the ladder match. Keith Lee, who I couldn't remember his name before because I forget names. Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Christian. Did I miss somebody? No, I got them all.
No, 6 guys.
Fun match. What was intriguing to me was Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, very big men, right? Then you have Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Christian, much smaller. So you have this neat contrast in sizes, but they all can move. They can all work. I wanted Wardlow to win. He did win. There's so many fun moments in this where, again, they over dramatize stuff where the guy's going up the ladder. I thought it was great that Wardlow, that he would look at who was it? I think it was Keith Lee. They come back down the ladder and they go at it. I thought Orange Cassidy, when he jumped on everyone's back and he tried to try to make a leap for it, was fun. Ricky Starks was good stuff. Powerhouse Hobbs. When Wardlow took out Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee, that's when I knew. I said, he's going to win. They did, again, not a big fan of ladder matches, but it was fun. I thought it was well done. The crowd was into it. The crowd, when Wardlow won, like Mike has said before, they desperately want him to flip. Again, I don't necessarily have to make him a full face. I just watched an interview with him. He speaks well. He can give a good promo, I think. He doesn't talk too much now because is he like MJF's bodyguard?
He's his bodyguard. Kind of what Diesel was to Shawn Michaels back in the day, in my opinion.
So that's kind of the role he plays, and he wrestles a lot, obviously. I mean, people love when he does multiple power bombs on people. And I was happy, and I'd like to see. I don't know what. And now he gets to go for one. He's going to go for a TNT and TBS title, correct? Is that what this?
No, you don't want him going after the TBS championship. That him against Jay Cargill probably wouldn't be too fun. But yeah, he did the TBS championship against the winner of this. It's Sammy wrestles on Wednesday night. He wrestles Scorpio Sky. Yeah, you're right. And the winner of that match faces Wardlow at, I believe, San Antonio, for the title at St. Patrick's Day Slam. They said on March 17th.
I would like to see Wardlow win that against, I don't care whoever, because I think you're going to miss an opportunity if you don't let him totally pop. You know what I mean? The fans want it. He has a good build. He works well, to my opinion. And I just watched an interview at lunch, really listened because I was at lunch. I was doing something else at work. Well-spoken, stayed in character. He actually, Mike, it was kind of funny. He kind of stayed in character for a few things. When they mentioned Keith Lee, he goes, well, Keith Lee, who's, basically who's he? He's come to our house now. I don't know if that's real animosity or, it could be real animosity. I don't think so, but he stayed in character with that. So that was kind of interesting to me. Keith Lee, phenomenal. Big man, phenomenal. Powerhouse, Hobbs, same thing. But I cannot believe how agile he is, Mike. Incredible. How agile he is.
He's amazing. He is literally amazing. Again, I got a guy WWE misused, and they were trying to make into the Bearcat Keith Lee, and that's like, God, how come we just can't leave this guy alone? He was his own character, and then in NXT he was just fine. Came up to the main roster and was totally.
That's another thing I don't like about WWE. Why can't they just have whatever normal name you want to give them? Not everyone needs to be Guns from Navarone. You know what I mean? It just you don't have to do that. Cleve Baseball Fan 879. Check out that wonderful channel. Our good friend Tim. Wardlow is the new Batista. Funny you say that because he looked up to Batista. That was one of his. Again, I just listened to an interview. Not that I know anything, but I'm just saying I listened to an interview and he mentioned Batista quite a bit. So this was a fun match, and we got our Danhausen sighting, who actually sort of helped Wardlow win, which I thought was funny. And again, the grades here go from what I've seen, C+, B-, B, just reading through things. Again, very enjoyable match. Again, I'm not looking for the technical. Was it enjoyable? Did they get the right person, quote unquote, to win? The crowd popped. They got the right person to win. Okay. That's just so they did the one that surprised me, and the crowd still popped because they love Jurassic Express. Okay. And then again, the first match that we went over just real quickly. Again, these are quick little thoughts each match. Michael will give you more in depth. Eddie Kingston. Again, the crowd popped. And then they didn't have the handshake. The crowd popped again. They were like, oh, you should have shook his hand. So again, to me, people can criticize. I've been reading a lot of criticism about AEW. I've watched for a bit. My criticisms are just because I'm more of an old school wrestling fan, Mike. You know what I mean? A little too much high flying, a little too many false finishes. I'm of the old school of finish. Like when you hit again, I go back to Diamond Dallas Page and what I read and when he talked about when they ruined my career. And I don't even remember who they let kick out of the Diamond Cutter. I forgot who it was. The Diamond Cutter was his finishing move, right? He goes, when I put that on,
Right.
it was over. He goes, and he said, I don't care that they didn't want, whatever. I wasn't supposed to win. Let him block my Diamond Cutter, let him prevent it from me doing it. But don't let me put it on him and the guy pops up like nothing happened. You ruined me, which makes sense to me. Again, things have changed. All right. So
back in the day, it was kind of when Jake Roberts was debuting the DDT, and he never got up from that. So it was
and now everyone gets up from a DDT.
And now that's just normal. So
now Jake Roberts has been on AEW. I've seen him. Who was he with?
He's with he's with the Mohawk Monster, Lance Archer.
Oh yes, the championship match. That's where I saw him. Yes, which was a great match on TV, on regular cable between him and Adam Page, which, again, it was phenomenal. That match, again, not pay-per-view. That was I was in shock that blood came out because I haven't seen blood in it. Again, just starting to watch wrestling. I haven't seen blood in years. Not that they have to do it. So did you enjoy the ladder match, Michael?
I did, yeah. I liked it a lot, and the right guy won. I've always kind of been a fan of from Wardlow from the beginning when he started. I never had heard of him before, but kind of liked the gimmick. And again, there's just a slow burn between him and when the Punk thing started, you thought maybe he was gonna help Punk out, and he never did.
I was thinking that too. I thought he was gonna do that. In fact, when CM Punk, when he said, "I'm picking my tag team partner," I thought it was going to be that he was going to pick, in a weird way, I thought he was going to pick Wardlow. I keep calling him Wardlow. Just because I thought that's when they would flip him. And they could even go the other way where he turned on CM. You know what I mean? Like, it was a stupid move that CM Punk made if he picked him. But anyway, he picked Jon Moxley, which was another fun match. That was they put on some good TV matches, which surprises me. They actually put on some really...
They do. Their TV is, by far the best out there. It's, much better than the crap that's on tonight.
There's no, like when we were young, Mike, there's no squash matches really anymore. Even when they sort of have a squash match, they let the guy who's supposed to be squashed actually get a little bit in, you know what I mean? Like get a little action in. And
if you want to watch squash matches, they do their on their YouTube, they do the dark
shows,
which I guess have their own place in Orlando. I guess they do, right? And that's all squash matches.
I know. I checked them out.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, you're right. No, because I was like, what are these? And I watched some of them. They put them up on YouTube.
And what I enjoy about the squash.
I think we lost Mr.
Sorry
Mike.
about that. What I enjoy about the squash matches. I'm right here. Am I not here? Hello.
No, you're here. You're back. You froze for a second. No, you're good. You're good, Mike.
Okay. Sorry. What I enjoy about the squash matches is it allows me to see finishers by the guy.
Right.
And also it leads to storylines. At least it used to.
Well, that's Goldberg was built on squash matches. Remember? Bing, 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 and that's how they built him. He had
his again, little retrospect. His very first match was here when they debuted the East Center here in Salt Lake. I didn't go because I wasn't here yet. Because where was I that night? That was also the night that WWF was in Madison Square Garden. I was there. That was the night Austin stunned McMahon, and all that. That was also the night Cactus Jack came out for the first time, wrestled Triple H in a that was a Falls Count Anywhere match, which was freaking awesome night. So it was the same exact night, which I found kind of funny.
That's pretty cool, though.
As I came, I came out here September of 2000. I came out here September of 2000, 1999, and I think this was 97. I think was Goldberg's debut or somewhere in 98.
So we're in agreement. Wardlow, the right choice to win there, because the crowd, the fan base wants him to go on to bigger and better things. And I hope they don't miss an opportunity here. You know,
unless they use MJF to screw him from winning the title. I don't know.
You could do that, and then he gets his grudge match. Then you could run the whole thing with him and MJF. But how many times MJF, a great talker, again, old school kind of heel, right? I don't know how much you can. I mean, you can do a lot with him, but his matches, I only have seen him wrestle. I did not see the CM Punk matches prior. I actually missed those, and then when I saw the highlights of them, I didn't go back to watch. He's good. I don't know. Maybe I got worn out by the CM Punk and MJF thing. I don't know. That, again, just my opinion. I wanted Wardlow to just go in there and powerbomb MJF. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. So I'd like to see some sort of match with that possibly down the road.
Now,
I'd like to see,
don't hang on. I'm reading what Tribe Fan. Yeah,
I'll put it up here. I'll read it. Goldberg's streak started with Bill DeMott, Morris. Also, one of Goldberg's victims is someone who would show up on AEW last night. Ooh, I did not know that. All I know is I forgot what documentary I was watching, and when they had Goldberg lose the way he lost, the person turned to the other person and go, they just killed the goose that laid the golden egg. You know, again, the way he lost was stupid, and I was a big fan of WCW. To me, it was much more enjoyable than the WWF, WWE, whatever the hell they were called then. But I didn't like that. I don't care if a side cheats. I don't even care if a good guy cheats. Just give me, I don't need a cattle. It was a stupid thing. It was stupid. I mean, that's for another day for a discussion. But yeah.
Well, I guess as you go on to the next match, the question has to be asked: does Wardlow win the match and then not help out? Did he look at that match and went, all right, I guess he's going to cost MJF his match against CM Punk later? Does it not make sense for him to win the ladder match and not turn total face in one night? So was it like, you saw it coming because he won the ladder match?
I know where you're going. Here's my thought process on that. He wins the ladder match. That means he's going to get a shot, right? Right? So he can be something without MJF. And my thought process was he can screw him now because I'm going to win this title. You know, like when he gets his shot at the TNT, TBS, whatever it's called. So I'm glad he did what he did when we get to that. I'm glad because the crowd, again, if you're doing wrestling, right? What's wrestling? You want the crowd to pop. You want the people watching on TV to pop, right? Right? That's what it's about. Get an emotional response. And it's even harder now because, again, I think when I was 9 years old, I figured out it was not real, but we enjoyed it. And there was always even hey, maybe these two guys really hate each other kind of thing on a rare occasion. Now they come out, everyone knows it's fake. It's theater, it's fiction. So how can they and I hate using the term writers, but the people who, I still like to say bookers or whatever it's called, how do they get the crowd to pop? And they got 2 pops out of Wardlow, right? One when he wins, and one when we get to the dog collar match and he screws, I'm better than you, MJF, which I liked. That's just these are just my thoughts and opinions. So we did enjoy. I like a match I normally don't like is a ladder match. Again, I really did enjoy this match. Again, we were talking about grades. Again, I don't go by grades. If I enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. But I've seen C+, B-. It was okay. I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it. Now we'll go to Mr. Utah Mike's favorite female wrestler, Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti, who, again, I did
Ty
not know much
Conti,
about. Ty Conti. I don't know much about her. I know they did the whole shtick setting it up where we're going to wrestle at the pay-per-view. Jade Cargill, they're kind of doing, I think we talked offline about this, Mr. Utah Mike, kind of the Goldberg thing where she's just going to win. And that's the way they're building her up. She has a good look to her. She has a sort of manager, confidant kind of guy who's annoying at ringside, which annoys the people. And she plays up the heel, right? She also has a master's degree in psychology. We looked that up. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to me that Baker, the female champ, she's really a dentist. We looked that up too because I was like, I said, that's got to be a shtick to Nurse Teresa. She goes, you can't have those credentials. It's against the, you can't even fit, no matter what you do. You can say doctor, like there's many wrestlers who said doctor this, doctor that. You can't have the DMD, however she does it. You can't. We looked it up. She's a legit. They actually mentioned that after we looked it up. It was hilarious on the broadcast. I was like, she was legit dentist. What are your thoughts on the TBS Women's Championship match? And share the thoughts you had with me offline if you want about Jade Cargill.
I don't see it. Every match you read from her is that Jade is really green. She's tough to work with. You find a lot of her results being this match didn't go well. It was extremely clunky. You rarely get it because Britt is very accomplished. I mean, you didn't need to have all the cheating. I mean, we'll get to that, but you didn't need all the cheating and shenanigans that come with that.
Either.
But then again, with Jade, she is. I mean, and yeah, to me, they're showing the Goldberg thing because when she won, they showed her record in the back on the big screen. She's now 29-0. It kind of sounds like they have that, the streak thing going for her. So, for females, I like Britt. I'm a big fan of the Dark Order's female they have on there. I forget what her name is, but I like her too. But hopefully, hopefully Layla will get a chance. Hey, Matt.
Mr. Steeler fan 1933, our good friend Matt. Thank you. So this was an okay match. Again, I enjoyed it. It wasn't as horror. I thought it was going to be a match that was going to not be good. I can honestly say I didn't dislike any match. There are some matches I preferred more than others. Obviously, I preferred matches more than this. But it was fine. It was good. Again, probably went a little too long for me. I think some of these matches.
I think it's 7 minutes. So it's like I guess if it's under 10 minutes, I guess that's fine. So it's because what you have to do is you have to put something. You have to buffer stuff. If you have something that's incredible, then you have to have something to buffer the next one, so the fans can go. Because it's just the climax, and the Kingston Jericho was good. So then he went right to the Jurassic Express, and
that was good.
We'll get to that when we get to the Piper thing. We'll get to it when we get to the Piper, the MJF Punk thing.
Yeah,
it's just how it's
which is the match after.
Like what Tony Khan says, it's really hard to put a sheet together and put who you want. The wrestle here and wrestle there, because then you have to time these things, and you don't want something. You don't want putting Moxley and Danielson after the dog collar match would probably win. And maybe it was after. What was after the dog collar match?
It was Britt Baker.
Okay, that's exactly why you put a females match there. Again, the buff of the crowd, getting back under control, and then you probably gave them the Danielson Moxley match after that to get him back and revved up again.
Then you had the 6-man tag, which actually again turned out to be really entertaining. And then you had the world championship. So again, we're not going to spend too much time on the Cargill, but so again, the one thing I'd like to see, they won't do it. I think they should. I think the fans would like it. Cargill against Britt Baker again at some point, because that would be interesting, and you can go either way with that. If you're trying, you want to, have her win, keep her win streak. She takes the world championship, then she can lose it back. Because that would be interesting. Again, I get it; they're two heels, but I honestly think people would be rooting for Baker in that one. I'd like to see it. It's something just to see how the writing goes. I understand this stuff is all fiction. I just like to see how they want to go with the storyline. It's fun to try to figure it out. Just like if you're trying to, we've talked about it earlier to the chat and me and Utah Mike. It's just fun. Like if you're watching a show, how are the writers going to go?
It's how you get. It's how you get there.
And that's the same thing. Like when you're playing whatever wrestling game you like to play in your mind, how you're booking it, whether you're streaming it or not, but whatever I do, I play a lot of wrestling offline. And sometimes I wish I streamed this because I came up with this brilliant storyline and, I'll type it up, but I was like, oh, I wish I did it, but it's fun. It's fun to me. Okay. So again, this match was, you said it went only 7 minutes. God, it seemed like it went longer than that. I'll take your word for it though. Got it. Okay. So this was probably one of my least favorite matches if I thought it went longer. Now comes the big dog collar match, CM Punk, MJF.
Mm-hmm.
They put the dog collars on.
Let's get to the what again a true wrestling fans watch. That's been watching for a while saw this. So MJF comes out. He comes in with color. What is it? True Colors, Cult of Personality.
Yes.
It changes over to his theme song. Pisses everyone off.
The fans boo. They set that up nice.
And he comes in, and I've been a fan for a long time. So one of my favorite all-time themes of CM Punk was when he was with Ring of Honor, and he came in with a group called AFI, and the song is called Misery Contente, I believe it is. And when I read about it last night that he had used it, and I hadn't watched it yet, I was like, holy! And I was so like looking forward just for this. And it is a great theme, and he came in wearing his old straight edge society outfit with the triple X's on him, with the white outfit, the white outfit that he used to wear with Ring of Honor. I mean, he totally went old school on MJF. I mean, the same outfit kind of he wore because MJF wanted to wrestle CM Punk. Well, Punk's wrestled in dog collar matches that were again iconic too. He's wrestled Raven before in Ring of Honor's dog collar match. Absolutely brutal. And again, you're talking about an incredible in a person can tell a story, a Jake Roberts mentality, and Scott Levy and Raven, and it was just It was Scott Levy coming on saying, Punk, you're not really straight edge. You need to be like me, a degenerate. And Punk's like, no, I'm not going to be like you. And Raven trying to pour the alcohol down Punk's throat and saying, you're not straight edge. And, oh my God, it was just, if you go back and once AEW puts Ring of Honor stuff on there and you can go back and watch those stuff, Jesus. There's just, and again, that set up the match last night is the old school Punk going back to his old heritage and stuff like that.
Now, I enjoyed the match. First, I want to say I did enjoy the match. I don't know if I built it up more in my head because I had watched Piper and going real old school. Piper and
Valentine from Starcade,
Valentine.
correct?
I went brain. The Hammer.
And that probably went 20 minutes
That-
less than that last night.
Right. And it was so okay. This is going to be my point with this match. Enjoyable match. I think I'm again surprised with Punk very smartly just blading himself a little bit. He hits that same spot, a lot of blood, right? MJF, I don't know if he used fake because his bleeding stopped, where Punk's bleeding never stopped. And again, that's Nurse Teresa and I were watching a couple other matches that we kept going. Is that real or is that then with some sort of blood packet going splat on my face? And maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they legitimately just a little bladed a little bit. Again, I'm not saying do it, don't do it. I'm just saying I'm always surprised when it's done now in this day and age. But it fit the storyline. So if they agreed upon it, it fit the storyline, right, Mike? It's a dog collar match.
Right, exactly.
If you're thinking in reality, if two guys are smacking each other with a chain, you're going to get busted open. So again, it worked with the storyline. Now, no one get mad at me. I already said I enjoyed the match. The timing of everything was going pretty good with all the matches. This one, I thought they could have cut it back just a bit, and they could have got to the conclusion a little faster. The thumbtacks, as soon as they grab the bag, I know it's thumbtacks. It's you know what, Mike? It still amazes me that people are willing to be thrown on thumbtacks because that's painful. The match, good, very good. My one, I hate saying complaint, it went a little too long for me. That's just me. The other thing, do you think he groveled too much at times, MJF?
Yeah, but that's always been his character. He always wants to
Yeah.
he always wants to act like Piper, but Piper's never acted that way in his life.
Right.
He was never a groveling type.
Yeah, I don't mind. I really, that's even old school. Like if you watch old Superstar Billy Graham matches, I like Superstar Billy Graham. I never liked when the old school heels groveled too much. You're supposed to be a badass, right? You don't grovel. I did I like this match, but I did enjoy the build-up with not necessarily the matches, because I'm going to be honest, I missed the match in Chicago. I was going to watch it on demand, when you can catch it on, on the cable, you just replay it. But because I watched the highlights, so I technically saw it, I just didn't watch the whole match. I did like when he came out, they did the whole let's shake hands and hug thing. And I'm like, he's going to kick him in the nuts. And then he kicked him in the nuts. And Teresa's like, how did you know that? I go, because it's obvious he's going to. But I said, that's where you wanted it to go. You wanted him to cheap shot him and then do what they did to him, because that built up more. The grudge match, the old grudge match.
There was honestly thought, because they were like pushing MJF to be maybe being the ultimate babyface, because he gave this unbelievable promo on because CM Punk left for 7 years, you left me fester and be alone. Yeah. Well, screw you. This, I'm gonna be I'm better than you. And then Punk comes out like, are you telling me the truth? Yeah. And he nods and he walks away like,
right? Or the show before,
right? And
whatever.
It's like wow, you're almost building where Punk's. You're almost building to where Punk's the scumbag, and MJF has some, like even Tony Schiavone was like, well, I don't know, but I never felt this way for MJF before. And then
they did that well. They did that well.
Then next in the week after, like you said, it was like, yeah, I'm the devil, Punk, and he ended up, blowing him, and he gutted him like a fish and made him bleed. And it's like,
they had him hanging over the ropes, classic visual there. They got him hanging on the ropes, the blood coming down from his forehead. It was, again, my only. What did you say? How long this match went, Mike?
About a half hour? It went almost. It had the main event and this match both went about an hour in length.
Okay. Again, just me. I enjoyed the match. I just felt it went a little too long. That's all. Obviously you liked the match. You liked everything especially when CM Punk, Mike, came out old Ring of Honor old school. That was really
Absolutely. Yeah, that was probably the best moment of the night to me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to another. I have a different best moment. Well, there's lots of best moments. I enjoy the whole thing.
That and the whole Wardlow going, I can't find the diamond ring, Max. Oh wait, it was in my right hand pocket.
That was right when he screws over MJF, which everyone wanted, except I think everyone wants to see him. They would have liked him to powerbomb MJF through like a table or something, right? That would have been even better, right? But when
he's been winning by the diamond ring for the last couple years now. He's been winning his big matches. Wardlow's been giving him the ring. He knocks him out. Who would have thought the diamond ring acts like brass knucks? But it does.
Yeah, right. But and again, he plays a great heel. When I just make my little critiques. Again, just my thought. I don't like when they grovel too much. They grovel a little bit, but not, And again, when a heel grovels, it's to get the baby face off guard, and so you can do something horrible to them. But the baby face should only let that happen once, and then it should be done. You know what I mean? Then you should just go right at them when they grovel. But that was okay. So now Wardlow pops the crowd when he wins the ladder match, right, Mike? We've talked about that. Now he comes out because MJF is calling for Wardlow. CM Punk is in the ring, like sort of laid out, but not really. He just wants to really lay him out, make sure he finishes him. And like Mike says, he puts the ring on, and he that's how he wins. He hits people. And Wardlow's like, I can't find it. CM Punk takes advantage of that, and then Wardlow's like, oh look, I found it, and he puts it on the
apron of the ring, saying, "Hey, here it is. If you want to use it."
And he kind of gives him and he walks away, and the crowd pops for a second time for Wardlow. That was awesome. That is using someone properly. Again, I wanted Wardlow at some point for this build-up to take MJF. That's how good of a character MJF is and how well he plays it. That you actually get I'm emotionally involved with, and again, I know it's fake. I know it's fiction. It's like watching a TV show, but just like with a TV show, you want to see Game of Thrones. You want to see that little blonde bastard get poisoned to death, and he did, which I knew because I read the books. But people popped for that. I wanted to see Wardlow pick him up and at some point power bomb him through a table. But this was good. So you got Wardlow to pop the crowd twice, which was awesome. Again, you can criticize, but what is the job of wrestling? Give the fans what they want. Whether it's the winner, not necessarily has to be the winner, but make them pop. Make them, and the energy there was incredible. Very rarely did it go flat at any time in the matches. Like Mike said, they had those matches to try to bring the crowd down a little bit, to pace them a bit. But those matches still the crowd got into. So before we move on, we're not going to move on. Cleve Baseball Fan 879. Cody Rhodes and Brody Lee had a dog collar match, and Valentine was in the audience. Pretty cool. I got to check that one out. I have not seen enough of Cody Rhodes. I watched a little bit of it. His promo, when he speaks on the mic, I don't think he gives good promos. That's just my opinion. He doesn't do anything for me. I'm sure he's a fabulous wrestler. He comes from great pedigree.
You do know you do know his contract is over and he's gone.
Yeah. And I think that, which is fine because they got a lot of other people I'd rather see. And supposedly he's going back to WWE. Enjoy. Because I don't care.
Which is kind of weird. I mean, you think, he was one of the original executive vice presidents.
Did he not come from the WWE?
He was wrestling in the independents with Ring of Honor for a while in New Japan. So, because he had left WWE and went to Ring of Honor, was the American Nightmare there. I thought he really started to establish that, different character for himself.
Again, I'm sure that he has, I have not seen enough of him I'm just saying it doesn't, to me, I'd rather see Wardlow. To me, I'd rather see House of Black. To me, I'd rather see a lot CM Punk, MJF, who I'm dyslexic. I want to pop the things in between. I'd rather, there's a lot of other wrestlers I'd rather see than Cody Rhodes. And I wish him well, and his wife and their baby. I wish everyone well. I'm just saying, again, you sometimes might have too many wrestlers, and we've already briefly talked about that. So you really enjoy. I like this match. Thought it went a little long, the dog collar match, but what they did, I got to see Wardlow pop the crowd twice. Everyone gets into it. Everyone's cheering. CM Punk wins. The crowd goes nuts. The little prick gets his. You know what's funny? How quickly they clean the blood out of the ring. Because when they come back for the other matches, that stuff, I mean, they bleach galore that. If you ever watch old school boxing matches, on YouTube from, say, Madison Square Garden, when they just had a normal, no advertisements on, the blood was on those, like they kind of wipe it with the water, but you still saw blood stains on those. I just was amazed how quickly they would clean it. Not that they showed it, but obviously they were in there doing something.
I remember watching the original wrestling documentary and how blood was done, and I believe it was the guy who broke open the business was Eddie Mansfield, who showed the hidden blade inside the.
Yep.
That's why a lot of times the wrestlers' wrists are taped so they could put a little blood capsule there. Well, again, you want to go. I don't think you're going to be able to find it because they try to hide this shit. But sorry, it's on your channel. They try to hide this stuff. Go and watch if you haven't seen it ever before. Try to find the New Jack versus Mass Transit match, because that was the story where the kid who was underage in Massachusetts.
He cut him in the stomach.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he cut him in the head, but he came in wrestling in Revere. He was in Revere. Sorry, that's where he was. That was a show there. That's where ECW used to have their shows, and so he was, I believe, 17 years old, and he was underage, but he gave an illegal age.
I've read it. I've not seen it. I've read it. I've read about
it. And he wanted to be along with the fellas, so he said, "Hey, can you cut me? I've never done it before." And New Jack, if you ever know what New Jack is, said, "Sure, I'll cut you." So he took a freaking he took a freaking, rest in peace. He took an X-Acto knife, and he gutted him like a pig, and the rest is history. You have to watch it. It's just amazing. It's just that's one thing that probably cost ECW their first pay-per-views when he did that. So just because how controversial it was. But again, it actually was in your area of the country when it happened. It was in Revere. So yeah. At the old Pony Park, I think they said.
So again, dog collar match went over well with the fans. They give it a grade
good.
A-.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't do grades. Match was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. A little too long. That's all I say.
If they could have done without the thumbtacks and everything else, blah blah blah, yeah, I think it would have been 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, the thing with the thumbtacks, as soon as you again, just my opinion, as soon as he pulls the bag out, I'm like, thumbtacks. Again, it still amazes me that someone is willing to fall on thumbtacks. It's you ever just think about, like, you prick your finger with a needle or something. It hurts. So again, that's amazing. They already do amazing. Again, yes. The outcomes, obviously, this is a show. The outcomes are determined, but they still do amazing sports physical things, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. The athleticism is incredible.
I mean, it is a dog collar match. Why do we need to add thumbtacks? I exactly understand, and that could have.
That was my point. I didn't get it. Now, there's other matches. Again, you can go back and watch Terry Funk and Mick Foley, but I don't know if he was whatever, Mick Foley, and I don't know what he might have just been Mick Foley. I think it was Cactus Jack, actually. And they're throwing, there's a barbed wire match, and they're throwing all kinds of crap. And okay. And even some of that's, again, but that's the type of match they're doing. I don't think you needed the thumbtacks. I think you could have cut it down 10 minutes. And you could have still got everything in. But I'm not the writer, booker, or whatever. And again, match phenomenal, fun. It just went a little long for me. Now we have the AEW Women's Championship match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Make sure you do that when you say it, DMD. and she truly is a dentist, which is phenomenal. I just love that. Against Thunder Rosa. Solid match, good match. Mike's he mentioned it already, and I was gonna bring it up, but I'll let you. There's no need for all of the cheating, a little bit, yeah, because she's a bad guy or a heel, excuse me.
And that's that's the main reason she's hated to me. I think if she didn't have Jackie Hayter or whatever her name or whatever
her two lackeys,
other accomplices.
Yeah,
her two lackeys. Yeah, if she was by herself, she probably wouldn't get booed. But she has these two lackeys that interfere all the time, and and I guess there's too much. Now they're saying it's going to build Thunder Rosa going home, kind of like an Adam Page type, Virginia type, get the championship in your hometown. That maybe she'll beat Britt, and when they go to San Antonio on the 17th, she'll win the number 1 contenders match and get another match with her and beat her again. We'll see if that's what happens. That's what people are saying. So
no, and that makes sense, but I'm kind of. You want to see that match again? I don't.
Their first lights out match was absolutely incredible. They claim it doesn't count because it was
match of the year.
Because it was a non-sanctioned match. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do it in a cage then. Have a women ever had a cage match? I don't ever recall a women's cage match. So do it in a cage. No interference. Something like that. That'd be unique. Fun match. I'm not going to go into it. She has a great shtick. She gets heat from the crowd. She plays the ultimate villain, but she can still get the crowd to do DMD, and they'll chant that, and they'll have a good time with it. There is actually people saying Thunder Rosa, and then there were people saying DMD. You know what I mean? Like there was a little bit of that, which was kind
dueling chants. Yeah.
Yeah, so she has her fan base. She's a great heel. I don't mind some interference because again, you're playing the heel. That's the script. That's the role. That's the way it was over the top. But again, that's the way she wins. But it'd be nice. Again, I don't have a problem with quote unquote a heel or a bad guy winning an outright match with even if there's only a slight bit of cheating or no cheating. I don't, or just using dirty, like a kick to the groin to me is not cheating in wrestling. If you're a heel, that's something you do. A rake of the eyes. Roman Reigns, another complaint about some people who are much more knowledgeable about wrestling than I am that I follow on YouTube or podcast. Well, the heel shouldn't win a clean 1, 2, 3. Why? They're supposed to be a badass, right? 1, 2, 3 is fine with me, or a submission, or I put you to sleep in my submission hold. That's
why
I like that. That's the one thing where I like the newer type wrestling, where someone wins. Again, it's fake. We get that, but the win is a little cleaner. I like that. To me, that's fun. Hello, honey. You going to bed? All right. I love you.
Love you too.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right.
Did anybody agree about last night, or did you not really talk about it yet?
No, we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right. You want to show them my 12-year-old's tongue kiss?
No, I'm going to bed.
Okay, I was just telling you. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. I'll be there later.
I'm sure you will.
Where am I going to go?
Nope.
Anyhow, so
Have fun.
I'm having fun with Mr. Utah Mike. We're talking wrestling. So Dr. Britt Baker, she also has that shtick where she beats people within 5 minutes. Like they take the novices, supposedly the people training, and she wipes them out.
Mm-hmm.
The last one they did was kind of funny because the young lady kept running out of the ring, which I thought was, again, they switched it up a bit. And then when she finally caught the lady, she just put her in that hold and stopped her right away. But now this match, interestingly enough, got a very poor grade, in my opinion. Not one of the all the matches I enjoyed, but again, was it my most favorite match? No. I thought there was too much interference. Now, the grades I have seen on this, C minus, that type of grading. Again, I don't go for grading. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the matches. But if you're supposed to be, how many times do you have to see, quote unquote, a face go out there? It's 3-on-1. You don't have anyone to. I thought, Who was the female wrestler who was trying to take out Thunder Rosa and then sort of switched, kind of flipped to face, but not fully? She came out with the one who hit Thunder Rosa with the pipe, I think.
That was another WWE girl was Martinez, Mercedes Martinez.
Yes. I thought it would have been interesting if she came out to the ring, not to interfere in the match, but sort of wipe out the other two. And, I don't know. That's what I thought. Mercedes Martinez, thank you. We found another big wrestling fan here. He knows all the names. Cleve Baseball Fan 879. Remember, check out his channel. And, of course, Mr. Utah Mike's channel. Sports Time Machine, link provided in the chat and on the page for Mr. Sports Time Machine. All right, so, again, match was okay. I enjoyed it. We want to get to now another marquee matchup here. John, any final thoughts on the AEW Women's Championship match? And would you like to...
It is what it is, and I hope we have a conclusive finish if they're going to do it again on on their show.
Makes sense what you said, though. It makes sense. It makes sense what you said, Mike, about if Thunder Rosa gets another shot in San Antonio again. You just think of the fan base and stuff like that. Makes sense whether she wins or not. I don't know. I'd like to see Britt Baker against the woman in green, Jade Cargill, just because I find it interesting. How would the script go on that? To me, I like that stuff. All right, we're done with the women's championship match. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. Just a fun match. A little bit of everything. You had a lot of grappling. You had strikes. You had high flying, but not to the extent. This is the way this match went. Is the way I like to see matches. And again, not everyone can do this. I get the only thing I'll tell you also what I don't like. I don't like both guys on their knees doing this. Boring, stupid, not what you're really going to do. Someone's going to get on top. I mean, that's just me. You want to do a little bit of it, that's fine. The crowd seemed to like it. They popped. I'll tell you why I don't like that. Mr. Utah Mike in the chat. When you're doing this and you can't really lay in, it doesn't sound good. Okay? The slaps come in pretty good when they do that, but when you're standing toe to toe, you can lay in. And I'll tell you something, those guys lay in hard to the chest area. With their shots, they pull up on you can see, a lot of times they're pulling up with the shots to the head, but they're laying in hard to the chest area. Phenomenal match. A lot of fun. And enjoyed the match. Jon Moxley won in a really unique way. Like, Danielson had him in sort of like a submission hold, correct? And he kind of reversed it, and he kind of, did one of the, again, I don't know the wrestling terminology, but he got him 1, 2, 3. What are your thoughts on the match? Did you enjoy the match?
I really enjoyed it. I love the ending. Probably you had the absolutely amazing ending with a good finish.
Yes, and the best thing, and the match was great. William Regal comes out when they won't shake hands, and they're all starting to fight again. And then the security comes in who couldn't stop. Security were trained by like stormtroopers or the red shirts from Star Trek. They can't stop anybody. And they're getting flung around. And then William Regal comes in, who, from my understanding, again, fiction, but I mean, now this is real from what I've read and people have said, is a legitimate badass. William Regal. Like, he could shoot. If he wanted to beat someone in the ring.
He was an original car fighter, so.
Yeah, he can really. So, like, say if him and Goldberg really went at it, he would beat Goldberg most likely. I'm just saying, most likely. We don't know because they really didn't go at it. I've seen the match, the controversial match, where they said he kind of shot on Goldberg and people yelled at him. When he goes, you told me to go out there and give him some work. And I did that. And I lost. I watched the match. To me, he just put some moves on him that Goldberg probably didn't realize he was gonna. But he sold when he was supposed to sell, right? And he got pinned. So, but yeah, he's a legit quote unquote shooter. He could probably kick Hulk Hogan's ass in 35 seconds if they really went at it. That's just my opinion. But that was fun, and the crowd went nuts. Would you say that was a huge pop when he came out after that great match? The crowd went nuts.
Absolutely.
Because there's two thought processes there. One, it's William Regal, who also is, when he was in WWE, he had some sort of he was working.
A
little bit.
He was working in he was working with you. Yeah, he was working with the coaching and producing with the NXT. Again, someone who they're going to miss. But when they went to this NXT 2.0, they started getting rid of the old hat. And again, he did his 3 months, 90 days thing.
Yep. So here I'm hoping he stays with the company. I believe he will. Not that I know anything. He has signed his contract, and Tony Khan has said that he'll be probably doing some on-camera stuff, and he's also hopes he can get him to do some of the producer stuff backstage too. I hope he does a little bit of saying, "Hey, let's do this way a little bit." Not change everything, because hey, that's AEW does things for their fans. Their fans like certain things, but if you can just tweak it a bit and get people like me to watch again, I'm telling you, you keep looking for this to expand your audience, but you've already got the people who love your stuff, right? You don't want to lose them, okay? But imagine if you just tweaked it a bit. Cut back. Instead of 5 false finishes, maybe only 3 false finishes, right? Instead of a gazillion jumping moves. Again, some of them look really good and others look really bad, in my opinion, when you're trying to catch the guy, right? Because you don't want him to get hurt. Why don't we cut those out? Because they don't look good, you know? They don't look good, in my opinion. So William Regal comes out, great match. He headbutts and slaps John. No, this was phenomenal. He hits John Moxley, and then he headbutts him. He gets Moxley's blood on him, and then Danielson's like, ha, 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 look, you're getting punished by the principal, right? And then he walks over to Danielson, and he goes, smack, and he goes, now shake his hand. It was great. That was freaking great. Crowd popped. It was like totally. Go ahead.
It was like a father stepping in and going, "You did this," and the brother going, "Ha ha," and the other goes,
and then he
"Hey,
goes,
you're part of this too," and smacked him too.
Yeah,
and the fans went crazy on it, and then just the facial reaction by Bryan Danielson after that happened.
Awesome.
It was like, hey, what did I do? It was so good.
I don't understand how the WWE lets guys like that go. Danielson, who was Daniel? Was he Danielson or Daniels in the WWE? I don't know.
He was Daniel Bryan. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I get mixed up with the name changes and stuff. But you let such a talent go because you think he's too small. You don't let Cesaro do anything he really should have done because you don't think he talks well enough when he speaks 5 languages, and he popped with the fans anyway without your help. And they had to beg, my understanding from reading, they were Danielson, who's now there, Seth Rollins, they were saying, no, you should let him wrestle. You know, Roman Reigns could be a great match, and it was. And again, that's just my opinion on the other, which I don't watch much of anymore because I'm enjoying AEW. Cleve baseball fan, we'll get back to the Moxley, Bryan Danielson in just a second. Cleve baseball fan 879. I went to AEW Dynamite January 28th in Cleveland. How did you enjoy it? We almost went. They were in New Haven. Was it New Haven? I think they were in New Haven a couple of weeks back. And Nurse Teresa goes, you want to go? I'm like, I'm not. I'd rather watch on TV, but I might. Next time they come around, I might go.
They are making a Massachusetts swing coming up. I have to find out what it is, but I've been trying to see when they're coming back here again, and I haven't. Go ahead and continue talking. I'll find it.
Yeah.
But
Mark Jones says Paige Van Zant is now in AEW.
Yeah, she's with Scorpio Sky and
Oh, is she up in the booth?
Page. Yeah, that was
she
her
up
up there. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know who that was.
and I guess she's a legit
And
fighter. I guess so.
And she'll be a heel. That makes sense with it. Bleacher Bums Gaming. Damn, I was just wondering if you watched this so we could do a chat about this. I'll do another chat. This is, if you want to blame anyone about me talking wrestling, you blame Anthony Crooks from Bleacher Bums Gaming, because he said, Al, you got to watch AEW. Dave Little said, Al, you got to watch AEW. Also blame this man here, Mr. Utah Mike. Al, you got to watch AEW. When we were chatting, like when I put stuff up in Facebook. And
okay, yeah. I'll put your money where your mouth is. April 6th, they are going to be at the Agonis Arena.
Where's that?
In Boston. I don't know who owns that arena or who uses it for, but it is in
April 6th.
In Boston. April 6th. And so they'll have Dynamite and Rampage there. So that's a long night. It's almost 3.5, 4 hours. But
it seems that obviously it makes sense. They stay in the same area for their two shows, you know. Cleve baseball fan says it was a freaking blast. They almost sold out the basketball arena where Cleveland State plays. Go watch Cesaro with the party. Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, and Adam Cole. He's fun. I love Cesaro. I think Cesaro is so freakishly strong, great worker. And again, I hope Claudio goes AEW or Ring of Honor or whatever, however they're going to do it. Greg Gurecki.
It's on the campus of. Yeah, Don is actually on the campus of BU.
BU? Okay, I know where that is.
Boston University.
I know where BU is because Nickerson Field was over there before. Oh no, yeah, was that BU? I think it was. Greg Gurecki, our good friend from the Great White North, says, I didn't watch wrestling for almost 40 years until AEW came along, and now they are bringing in all the WWE retreads, which gives me a reason to stop watching again. Well, it depends how they use them, Greg, because if it depends how they use them. But yeah, I've enjoyed AEW, and I've just been back for about a month. I like Keith Lee. Again, I don't know much about Keith Lee. I just knew he came from WWE. He's phenomenal, big mover. Wardlow, again, he said in an interview, these guys coming over, they got to understand it's a new locker room. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm just enjoying it. I don't know how long I'll enjoy it, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. Next match. Any final thoughts on Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, Mr. Utah Mike?
Okay, it just getting one last thing says, all right, they shook hands. Are we going to see a tag team with Moxley and Bryan Danielson now, or are they going to still say they're separate ways? And is that going to turn? They're going to be a just badass tag team, both of them kind of fan favorite, kind of the swingers, or is he going to turn Mox heel? Where that's where Bryan Danielson. It leads to a lot of questions that they've done, which I think is good. So,
yeah, I like to see them do a tag team, but then again, I mean, imagine if they're a tag team, you put them up against the House of Black. So many matches you can make with these guys, and they don't have to always be a tag team. You know, they still do their single stuff, but that'd be interesting. I'd like to see them tag. That would be interesting. And like you said, lots of they left it open for a lot of things. Yep. Bleacher Bums Game said Wardlow popped on face turn was huge. Oh, yeah. And he did it twice, Andy.
Well,
twice. When he wins the
ladder
match here.
So
go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't interfere out. I mean, Tim was talking about being at the show. He was there, I guess, that night. Because Wardlow is a Cleveland guy.
Yes, he is.
I wonder what the pop was. Yeah, I wonder what was the pop was in the arena that night, because he came out, I guess, and was cheered and everything else. So I was wondering what the actual arena condition was for him.
Yeah, you don't have to make him a traditional baby face or a traditional face. Just let him wrestle anybody. Let the crowd cheer for him. And he popped twice. He popped when he won the ladder match, and he popped when he finally screws MJF. which was brilliant. They got the double pop. Now, the next match, and this was a better match than I thought it was going to be. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting against Matt Hardy, Andrade. Who the hell's the other guy? Now I can't remember. I'm looking.
And it was Matt Hardy, Andrade, and was Isaiah Cassidy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And he's the weakest of the three. But the match was a lot of fun. A lot of interference. But again, in a match like this, you expect it. You could fight anywhere. They had Sting splatter he went. Sting, 60 years old. This I'm pretty sure he's in his 60s, and he did the whole let me splash the guy through the came off the balcony, sort of almost ECW-esque, slightly fun match. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Sting, they win the match. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole match. I don't remember the whole match. I just remember I had fun watching it. A lot of high-flying stuff, a lot of power stuff, interference, then guys coming out from the other side to help out against because Blade came out and the Butcher and the Blade came out. I don't know who obviously they're affiliated with Matt Hardy. You know what I mean? They came out to help that team. So again, I'm not saying I know all the teams and who's affiliated with who, but they came out and it was just back and forth. It was again, did the match entertain me? Was I entertained yes, I was. I did think that Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting would win. And then we had another non-handshake prior to this when Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, they wrestled against each other, and Darby Allin wouldn't shake his hand. I think it was a three-way. I'm trying to think. I think it was a three-way match, but it came down to them. But anyway, that was a TV, on either TBS or TNT. It was one of the, a TV match, which again, their TV matches are phenomenal. Now at the conclusion of this match, they shook hands. So, what are your thoughts on Sting at this time?
They are using him the correct way. They are putting him in smart matches. They are putting him in matches he can have some control of, so he can do that. I've always been a fan of Sammy Guevara from the beginning. I've seen some of his YouTube blog stuff and thought he had some. He was always had a good kind of good stick kind of thing. I'm kind of sad that he, and this is just a little off thing. I'm kind of saddened that he broke up with his longtime girlfriend. I think he's dating one of the wrestlers now. Okay. He proposed to her actually in the ring, and I guess they broken up and all that. Which I don't know. I hope that's not because of that, because he seems like a good kid, and I was hoping they would stay together. But if you ever watch it, you'll see. That's just my thing. And Darby Allin, I wasn't sure of him when I first saw him. I seen him in Independence. I love his music. He has I'm glad he never goes to WWE. He has total control of the videos, like the video they made before the match with they're doing the mock funeral, and he came out. So he's dating Kai Conti now. Okay, there you go. So
let me go back real quickly because there's something else about the Jon Moxley Bryan Danielson match. I love the little promos they did of them wrestling in a gymnasium, like when they wrestled years ago in a gymnasium. Mm-hmm. It looked like there's literally 35, 50 people there. And they gave you a decent little look at that. I'm like, that was really cool. I just want to, there's something else. Sammy Guevara, it's interesting. Do you think would you put Sammy Guevara and Wardlow, I want to keep calling him Wardlow. I'd like to see that match, and to be honest with you, I'd like to see Wardlow win. I just would. It's just it's David versus Goliath kind of thing, and I want Goliath to win. and I want him to power bomb him a gazillion times and pin him at some point. I just think you have an opportunity with Wardlow to do something with him, whether it's a world championship or again, what would be their versions of, say, a USA title, an intercontinental title. I don't, because you can always then make Sammy Guevara with somebody else a tag team, and they could win a belt that way, so on and so forth. I don't know. What are your thoughts on? Again, we enjoyed the match. I asked you, you think they're using Sting right? I agree, because you can't. I mean, he's 60-something years old. I'm still not. Now, Darby Allin, again, good wrestler. I'm not sold on the shtick. I don't know why. Again, I like Danhausen, which again, see, I like Danhausen. But yet, Darby Allin, I'm not sold on his shtick, so I'm strange that way. Very good wrestler.
He's very good. He has I guess he came from a homeless background. He wears the makeup kind of as an homage to that, kind of his demons and everything else. And
so it's like,
again,
my human side. I get it. You just explained it to me. I get it now. I didn't know, again, because
he gets all his videos are all him. He has all creativity in this. And like, if you watch that video to open the match, it was like, wow, the whole, driving through the whole mock funeral.
Right. You just told me on Darby Allin. Awesome. Again, he's a great worker. How long do you? And
I'll say that, and I'll say this before we move on to the other match is,
you can say what you have.
When I look, well, I'm trying to keep my own time because I got to work.
Yep.
But let me give you my thoughts on the Andrade Hardy faction.
Yep.
There's kind of, I think they're missing the boat on Andrade right now, who is dating, who's dating who's dating and engaged to Charlotte Flair. So again, they're kind of misusing him. They're kind of misusing him there. And Matt Hardy, you can kind of see they're kind of waiting on his brother to come in. I think they're going to you're eventually going to see the Young Bucks and the Hardy Boys and all that.
That would be a fun matchup.
Jeff has already said he's on his way in, which you're not supposed to say, but he's already said he's just waiting for the time to run out. So you can see the Andrade Hardy faction starting to break up, and hopefully, Matt will go back face again with his brother at some point.
I honestly think even with Ring of Honor coming on, they still might have too many wrestlers. So you got to figure out what to do, because there's going to be talent that's going to slip through. There's a lot of talent there that the fans like to see. That again, I think right now Wardlow is hot, and they should really, to me, let him win a title. To me, House of Black is hot, right? Let him take either come up with this 3-man, the whole 3-man tag team championship thing, or let them take on Jungle, the whatever the hell they're called, the Jungle Express.
Express.
Jungle. Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Sorry. Again, very talented, both of them, but let the match. This is the way I see that match going. If they did that, it's competitive, right? And then all of a sudden, by whatever hook or crook, the House of Black gets the upper hand, and then they crush them. You know what I mean? They take Jurassisaurus, the big guy, out, and then they just pummel the crap out of Jungle Boy. And so it's like one of those old school ass-kicking beat downs, and they win the title. To me, they're phenomenal, those guys. Again, they're bad guys, I get it. But I watched an interview they did, which was really cool. Again, the reason why I watched was Danhausen was doing the thing in the ring. It was like a pre-thing, and they're all in suits, right? And they're answering questions from the crowd. They're staying in character, but they're doing it in a way where they're not mega jerks, right? They're staying in character. They're not mega jerks. I like that. And they had a little comedy to them when someone asked, "Where'd you get those shoes?" He goes, "By the only person I ever listened to, the Queen, my wife, told me I should wear these shoes." And it was kind of neat. And I respect that. I like when that stuff. And they're phenomenal. I just think they're phenomenal. So now, the main event. Now, do you want to? Is it okay to go through this? Right?
Yeah. Go ahead if you want to talk about it. I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully, I'll watch. I read about it because I want to know what happened. But
all right, so you're obviously aware. This was a hell of a match. I don't know where they're going with Adam Page, the Hangman, but he gives a good match. I don't know if the crowd seems to be into him, but I don't think they're really into him. Adam Cole for a heel, the crowd come. They had the "Let's go Adam." That was kind of funny because they're both named Adam. I enjoyed that. Adam Cole, phenomenal. Adam Page, phenomenal. One thing I want to say to Adam Page, dude, you're supposed to be a cowboy, right? Don't have like red, white, and blue, or rainbow kind of tassels. That's not cowboy. Other than that, what was it? 3 weeks ago, when he had the match on TV, Texas Death Match?
Yeah, with Lance Archer. Yeah,
incredible match, incredible, and I was really impressed by that. This match was a good match. Too many false finishes. Again, that's what they do. And I'm just going to get to my point. And Mike, when you watch it, I don't know, maybe you'll agree with me and later on send me a message. He hit him with a buckshot, the jumping lariat thing, which is really cool. And okay, let me go. This match, when you watch people like Al Snow or you listen to people like talk about, does it make sense, right? Adam Cole is working on the arm that he does the buckshot with, right? That makes sense, right? He wants to work. And Adam Page is working on the legs and everything else to take away the guy's speed. And it was brutal. They're out of the ring. They're banging away. It was just a fun match, but it made sense, okay? And every time he tried to hit him with the arm that Adam Cole was dealing damage with, he would always go, oh, but it made sense. Same thing with the MJF thing. I forgot to mention that. When CM Punk worked on his hand and MJF would hit him and then go, like that. Again, little things like that make sense. He hit him with a buckshot, the flying lariat, which is really a cool move, right? He upended him. That's when the bout should have ended. He should have got him the 1, 2, 3 there. That was phenomenal. The way he hit him, the way Adam Page hit Adam Cole was phenomenal. The way Adam Cole sold it was phenomenal. But yet, Adam Cole kicks out. Then they come back. Adam Page hits him with a finishing, I don't know the exact move, but it was a finishing sort of slam move. And then he waits and he hits him with another buckshot, which wasn't as good looking. He kind of didn't clip him right, but still 1, 2, 3. And at the end, he goes over like Adam Cole's laid out and he shakes his hand because that's his shtick. I live by my code. I think you will enjoy this match, Mr. Utah Mike. I think it was a very fun match. They did out of the ring stuff. They slam you into the pole thing. Again, this is just my thoughts. I'm not going into technicalities. I look at storyline. Did it make sense? Yes.
Was there much interference by Cole's?
No.
Cole. That was nice, son.
Interference. I'm trying to think. Was there a little bit, and then the guy came out? No, I don't think there was any interference. See, I'm getting my matches mixed up in my head.
Oh, wait a minute. There might have been a little bit, and I think the Dark Order came out or something and helped out.
Yes, there
clear
was.
Him out.
They cleared out. Oh, yes, there was.
Red Dragon came out, didn't they?
Red Dragon came out. Yes, I'm getting it. Then, so there was a little interference, but that's fine because the other guys came and you know what I mean? So now it got back to 1-1. Red Dragon did come out. So thank you, because I forgot about that. And again, it worked.
That's that. And now where AEW is supposed to be where wins and losses matter. I guess this was Adam Cole's first loss, so I'm kind of surprised they let that be to Page.
I don't know when his contract is up. And again, I'm not. I go through the internet. I look at stuff, whether it's accurate or not. I don't know. I thought I came across something. Because at first I thought Adam Cole was going to beat Adam Page. And they were going to set up something for possibly Kenny Omega to wrestle Adam Cole because Adam Cole had brought out Switchblade, who doesn't like Kenny Omega. So I just thought there'd be some tension there. And so maybe when Kenny Omega gets healthy from these operations, that's what they're going to do. But then I came across something, and again, I don't know if it's accurate, that his contract might be coming up soon. I could be totally wrong with what I read. I don't know. And then when I read that, I go, well, they're not going to let him win Because why would you let a guy win and you might walk? No.
I think he just signed in his initial first contract, so I think he's going to be there for a while. Omega is still, and last interview I heard from Omega, he is still dealing with because of COVID and getting appointments, and he's still, I guess, the hernia operation, so he's still, I guess, a ways out to coming back.
Yeah,
so.
because people thought Kenny Omega was coming out, and the crowd popped when they thought it was Kenny Omega, but it was his manager or whatever.
Don Callis,
Seems like plays a total douchebag incredible, because he sure played it. And again, that's what he's supposed to do. So I did enjoy this match. Again, I'm not going to go. The one things you need to get rid of in in any wrestling, but AEW, cut back a bit of the high flying when it doesn't make sense. I get it when it's the Young Bucks and those types of teams. They're going to do that, right? I even then you could cut it back just a little bit for my taste. Get rid of the things when the guy's climbing up on the ropes and the other guy's kind of helping him do it to hold him. It looks horrible. Don't do it unless you can do it quickly or make sense with it. Sometimes it makes sense with it. Like the guy's climbing up and the other guy hits him in the stomach and you say, oh, he has the advantage. That stuff makes sense. But I get rid of a little bit of that. False finishes, please. Do you need 15,000 false finishes? Because once in a while, I'm going to tell you something. Not necessarily on a pay-per-view, right? But on a TV match, guess what? You should get the 1, 2, 3 every once in a while. Even if you're beating someone or like, because then people go like this, holy cow, wow. Give them that little surprise once in a while. That's just my opinion. But what do you think they're going to do with Adam Page? Be honest, I'd like to see, again, to me, we don't know when Kenny Omega is coming back. Again, I'm not the historian of AEW or wrestling. But who's hot right now? To me, who's hot? Wardlow. Wardlow should somehow win a title. This is the way I set it up. Wardlow gets to Guevara, right? He beats him in a pretty good match, but I want him to crush him at the end, right? Powerbomb, pin him, right? Now, you somehow get him into a beef with Adam Hangman Page. You get him in the beef with the Cowboy. You set up a couple of matches with that. To me, Adam Page is popular, but I don't think he's as popular as Wardlow. That's just my opinion. And if wrestling's about making people pop, to me, if you're not going to do CM Punk, it doesn't seem like they're making CM Punk to win a title. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem that way. I don't know if they are or they're not. Maybe eventually they do. Who else? Besides, to be honest, I'm happy Adam Cole did not win. To me, he doesn't look.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't like Adam Cole because he's small. He's almost midget type.
It's just he's a little smaller, but he's an excellent wrestler. But he's won everywhere else, right? I mean, maybe down the line you let him, you know what I mean? But I'm glad he didn't win this one. And I kind of thought he was gonna, but I'm glad he didn't. I just think who to me right now, the hottest wrestler, I watched the crowd pop twice. Wardlow. Let's see what you build on him. Let him wipe out MJF in some sort of bizarre, I'd like to see. Do they do a steel cage? I've not seen a steel cage match in AEW. I'd like to see a steel cage.
They've had one or two. They did a match between, I think it was Wardlow and Cody. I think.
Really? I'm gonna try to find that on YouTube. Maybe someone put that up. Now, but the way I like steel cage matches, Mike, I don't want to see them crawl out of the ring. You know what I mean? Like climb out of the ring or whatever. I want to see like the pin. You know what I mean? The cage being no interference. Or either way, I guess. But all in all, again, this is the first pay-per-view I've watched all the way through in years. I've watched some pay-per-view portions of WWE because we have what the hell is that on now?
Peacock.
And they just gave it to us. And I was like, okay, I'll watch once. If it's not Roman Reigns, I'm not watching. It's got to be Roman Reigns. I like watching. I'm not into Brock Lesnar. Sorry, just not. Not into Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley, I kind of liked. I like Bobby Lashley. I love Cesaro. I like Seth Rollins. But if it's not Roman Reigns, I'm not going to watch. That's just, again, if you're a WWE fan, it's cool. That's fine. Brock Lesnar's never, and he's a phenomenal athlete, legit tough bastard. I mean, he won in MMA. He was legit. I know CM Punk tried to do that, didn't do too well, but I give him credit for trying. I'm not really big into Brock Lesnar. That's just me. Who do you see a challenger, possibly the next for Hangman Adam Page? What do you see going? Do you find him a champion that the fans? I mean, they like him. Don't get me wrong. They like him. But he's almost. I don't sense you can get a bigger pop with someone else as champ, and to me, it's Wardlow. At the moment, you could screw the whole thing up by somehow having him lose to Jungle Boy. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, or Sammy Guevara. You're going to miss out on a big opportunity there. But besides, who do you see as the next sort of challenger for Hangman Adam Page?
There's no heel out there that are building high speed right now, unless they're going to plan to bring Jericho back and be the next heel. So
I agree with you there. I see your thought process. I don't want to see Jericho. Jericho is still a good wrestler, but it's just not.
Unless it's Moxley, and he does it as a kind of a subtle heel face tweener type.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be that Moxley. Now he held the belt before, correct?
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that. Danielson, maybe.
He just wrestled him twice. He wrestled the hour draw, and then Page beat him clean. So you would think that should be done for a little bit.
Okay, so that's done. That's done. We can't really go back. Thank you. I say Wardlow because it just makes sense. I mean, you're not going to let Wardlow beat Moxley, though that would be cool. They're never going to let that happen. You could kind of see Wardlow beat Danielson. Again, it's sort of a bad guy versus you know what I mean? Not a true face bad guy, but you could see it. You could see Danielson having his moments, and then Wardlow just very similar to like Roman Reigns and Danielson in WWE. But again, I guess I'm a big Wardlow fan. You got the crowd to pop not once, twice, and they were big pops. Once when he wins the ladder match, and then when he comes out to screw over MJF. You set up a thing with MJF now and Wardlow. There should be a match there. There should be MJF going, "You work for me, blah, 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 blah," and then Wardlow doing something to him. And then you set up, again, a cage, something where you can keep I don't want to, you can sort of have interference if you want, but when they come to the quote unquote big match, something that keeps people out of it. So he popped the crowd twice. There were a lot of the crowd was awesome, and there were a lot of pops. The three biggest pops, I think, in my opinion. Actually, he popped the crowd 3 times. Excuse me. When he knocked Keith Lee and the guy who was with Taz, the big dudes.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
He knocked him off the not balcony, but knocked him off the height balcony, I guess, into the thing. Crowd popped. They were phenomenal. 3 times big pops. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. I know you have to go, Mr. Utah Mike. Thank you very much. I'm going to stay on just a bit longer to go through the chat. But remember to check out Sports Time Machine, our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike. Please subscribe to his channel. Check it out. Good stuff on there. And thank you very much for coming on. His link to his channel
I
provided.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on. His link, Sports Time Machine, provided on the page and in the chat. Take care. Thank you very much, Mr. Utah Mike. We're going to stay on just a little bit longer. Bye-bye. Thank you. We're going to stay on just a little bit longer. I'm going to go through a couple of things in the chat. Again, hopefully, this was just my thoughts on AEW Revolution, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot. Did we go through this? Here we go. Cleve Baseball Fan 879. Every time he came out, Wardlow, I keep wanting to call him Warlord. Warlord got a nice pop. Even when he powerbombed Punk, the crowd didn't care. You're right. You're right. You're right. That's my point. Also, Wardlow came out after Rampage taping and said a few words, and the crowd loved it. That's my point. That is my point. Wardlow, the crowd is over on him. You have to do it when it's hot. It could end at some point because you write a stupid script or you don't book it right. He won. So now again, I believe, if I understand correctly, he gets a title shot against Sammy Guevara, excuse me. Come on. It should be a close match for a while, and then he should annihilate him. Crowd pops again. I don't care that they like Sammy Guevara. They're going to pop, I'm telling you. He power bombs him, pins him. He's going to pop. Now, you can either... That will be first because it's supposed to come first. You can set up the whole thing, or... No, you have that, then you can set up your whole thing with MJF, right? And you can have it where maybe MJF cheats and beats him on TV, or not necessarily beats him, but, you know, they sort of, with a lot of interference, kick the crap out of Wardlow with FTR and so on and so forth. Again, if you just join, FTR has been totally misused, in my opinion. The wrestling, again, what's wrestling? Get the crowd to pop. Who is the hottest wrestler right now? It's not CM Punk. Very hot, but not the hottest. It's not MJF for being a heel. Nope. It's it's Wardlow. Wardlow is the hottest wrestler when it comes to the crowd popping. Okay. You don't have to make him your traditional face. Make him where he wrestles anybody, but here's the point. He actually speaks very well. I watched an interview, and Cleve Baseball Fan 879, our good friend Tim, said he came out afterwards and did a little talking to the crowd, and the crowd loved it. You don't have to make him. Just make it where he thinks no one can beat me. He goes, I might be a bit braggadocious. You might say cocky, but I believe in myself. I know I can win, and I do win. That's all you got. You gotta make it like that. You know? That's how you're making a huge mistake, AEW, if you don't use him correctly. And then House of Black, they're phenomenal. Let them win the tag titles. There's 3 of them. I get that. Whatever, pick your 2, and they used to do it all the time. They're like the Freebirds almost, where you decide which 2 are going to wrestle. Third one out of the ring sometimes interferes. House of Black, phenomenal. You got to use them. How much longer are you going to go with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus? Now, the crowd likes them. They got a catchy theme. But at some point, I would like to see the House of Black. Again, this is the way the match goes. They take out the big guy. Or the match is going fairly even. And then it's just them pummeling the crap out of the much smaller wrestler, Jungle Boy, Luke Perry's son. Again, it's phenomenal. Again, that's just my thought process. I still don't know what I would do with Moxley and Danielson. Where are you going with that? You make them a tag team? That would be interesting. You let them win the titles, right? But you don't let them win the titles against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. You let them win the titles eventually against the House of Black. And it could be a feud, a great feud. You got to see this, AEW. Don't go stupid on us. It's too enjoyable. Come on, think smart. Greg Gorecki says, I lost a bet once, and it was the only time I ever went to a WWF card in 1986. I left after the 3rd match. Greg Gorecki, Wardlow will crush Guevara. I think he should. again, if you do some asinine thing where you let David beat Goliath in this one, you're morons. You're morons, AEW. I'll still watch, but you're wrong. You're wrong. And actually, it might piss me off enough not to watch anymore. He's Pop. The crowd doesn't care what he does. As long as he ain't smacking a woman or hitting a kid or kicking a puppy or a kitten. And again, you shouldn't make him. You should make him where you'll power bomb anyone through a table or power bomb them over and over again. It doesn't matter. If they're a wrestler, he'll do it to them. But you make him. He is so over with that crowd. It is incredible. And AEW, you are missing a great opportunity. A great opportunity. Let him beat Sammy Guevara. He grabs those 2 titles. Let him crush MJF in whatever, however you want to run that. But he's got to crush him at the end. You have a phenomenal thing going with him. But you can screw it up. You can screw it up. I would right now. He won the ladder match. I don't want to see him with Keith Lee, even though I think it'd be fun. I don't want to see him with Powerhouse Hobbs. You might want to put him in with Andrade. Fairly big guy. Good match. And then he power bombs the shit out of him. That'd be fun. Things like that. We've already seen that he can beat. Now, again, let's think logically. If we're writing the script. He won a ladder match. So he's beaten Keith Lee. He has beaten Hobbs. He knocked them in off that balcony area onto those tables. I don't need to see, not that they were I don't need to see those matches now. He's beat them. And he obviously isn't going to wrestle those other guys. He's way too big and he beat them. So he beat all those guys. CM Punk, why? Doesn't make sense now, right? So the thing for Wardlow that makes sense to me is he wins the TNT, TBS, whatever those 2 titles are that Sammy Guevara has, he wins those. Again, close match for a while, and then he crushes him. That's how it has to always go. Close match for a while, then he crushes the opponent. MJF, to be honest with you, we know it'd be phenomenal. They have a match, and he literally crushes. He goes Bruno Sammartino on his ass like against Buddy Rogers. He beats him within a minute. I mean, he nails him. Then he just power bombs the living shit out of him for like a minute and a half, and he's done. The crowd would pop. You can build it up whatever way you want, where MJF kicks him in the nuts, and they all beat up on Wardlow, and he comes back. But when they have the match, I wouldn't even have the match go long. I'd have him literally, there would be a squash match because that's what it would be in real life. I would have a squash match where he just, and the crowd pops because he kicks the crap out of MJF. That's just, because again, MJF, a great speaker. He can wrestle, obviously, right? Here's another thing you could do. If you want, again, you can't because MJF just lost, but had you gone the other way, you could somehow have MJF beat Hangman Page and then Wardlow annihilate him for the title or whatever. But MJF, they've done the thing with CM Punk. How much longer do you go with that? Where do you go with MJF? Great heel, but where do you go? Wardlow's the next thing. You have your little TV matches. Not necessarily matches, but you know where they ambush Wardlow and blah, 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 blah. And I don't like too much of that stuff. If it's in the ring, it's fine. A couple of that. Then you make your match. You want to do it for a pay-per-view. You can do it after he wins Wardlow wins the 2 titles from Guevara. And then he literally, the greatest squash match you could ever think of. That's how it should end. He should destroy MJF. Just destroy him. The crowd goes nuts, right? And then you just build him against, again, you're trying to, okay, there's not real animosity between him and Hangman Page. Who cares? It's for the title. It's for the title. And Wardlow goes, you have what I want, and I'm taking it. You know why? Because there was a guy saying he's better than you, blah, 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 and I was better than him. And there's CM Punk, and they say he's the best in the business, and I power bombed him, and he, whatever, he won by a fluke. You could say that. You can still give him his area, right? Then he beats Adam Page. Guess what you put back in play? You can put CM Punk back into play. But again, I'm just thinking, I don't know what wrestlers they're going to bring in. You bring in Cesaro, Claudio, Castanelli, the Swiss strongman. You bring him in. So many things you can do. But right now, the hottest wrestler in AEW, Wardlow. 3 big pops from the crowd. Actually, every time he did some pop, but the 3 big pops. I forgot one as I remembered. When he knocked Keith Lee and the other gentleman, who again I forgot his name, off the balcony through the tables. When he wins the ladder match, and then when he comes out and screws MJF, 3 big pops. No one got 3 big pops. I'm going to tell you the next big pop. I'm going to tell you the next big pop. You're not going to believe me, but I'm going to tell you. When William Regal came out, and there were a lot of pops. The crowd was amazing. There were a lot of pops. But when William Regal came out, that was a huge pop. Bigger than the CM Punk pop. Bigger than anything else. But it wasn't bigger than Wardlow. You're going to miss out on a huge opportunity here. Again, just my opinion. Greg Gurecki, that is what SCU used to be as well. 3 wrestlers that rotated defending the title. I think the problem comes, and again, I'll just equate it to, because we play sim games. When I play my wrestling games, again, most of it offline, I have all these thoughts in my head. I'm like, how do I work all these? Because I just use all the wrestlers. So I'm always thinking, like, how do I work a wrestler in? Because it's fun. You're writing a script in your head. It's fun. But Wardlow is the hot. You could have a good match with Andrade. It could be a brilliant match. Again, I hope they see this because the crowd will like it. You know, if he gets to Sammy Guevara. Now, if Scorpion Sky which I don't think he will, beats Guevara, you could still have that match, I guess, and he crushes Scorpion Sky, but not the same as crushing Guevara. Or maybe it is because they cheat to win the match. I don't know. Cleve Baseball Fan 879. How about Wardlow melts down the diamond ring after he beats MJ? That's cool. I like that. That's cool. That is cool. That's, again, if they meet in a legit match, which they should, it should be a squash match. He should annihilate MJF. I mean, again, Bruno Sammartino versus Buddy Rogers, a squash match. And that was a legit squash match in that one. That's what I say. Anyway, it was really fun talking wrestling. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was enjoyable to watch. It's been enjoyable to watch AEW, and it's all due to Danhausen. Very evil, very nice. Because he made it fun, and that's what wrestling's about, fun. Again, his shtick's goofy. But I have gone on YouTube, and I've seen some of his, where he's wrestling. He can wrestle. So hopefully his leg gets better, his foot gets better, and he can do some wrestling. Because I like to see him in the ring, not just his little... and again, he can wrestle the smaller guys, because he's wrestled them in the independents, and he's had good matches. So, take care, everyone. I'd like to say thank you to Greg Gurecki, Cleve Baseball Fan 879, our good friend Tim. Check out his wonderful YouTube channel. We also had D. Scott Howard in here, Bleacher Bums Gaming. Check out his wonderful channel. Of course, Glory Days Boxing, which can be purchased at sidelinestrategies.com. And I want to say thank you to Utah Mike for coming on. And again, his channel, link provided in the chat and on the page. Thank you to Mark Jones, Steeler Fan 1933, our good friend Matt. Dale Cutlass, a.k.a. Jim L. Hope all is well. Dave Gardner, hopefully you get your 1,000th goal very soon. And there you have it. So it was fun. We did a little wrestling chat. And once again, Greg Korecki says, take care, everyone. I enjoyed it. Hope you did. Again, thank you to Mr. Utah Mike. Stay safe, be smart, treat people the way you want to be treated. God bless. I greatly appreciate your time. Till next time. You know what's coming, folks. Peace. See you soon. Bye-bye.